All right, so you want to like really nail everyday English, not just the textbook stuff, but the kind of language that makes you sound like you actually belong.
Yeah.
Whether you're at the coffee shop or just hanging out with friends.
Absolutely.
And you know what? You guys have given us the perfect material to work with for this deep dive. Yeah, a whole podcast episode script from English Horizons that's totally focused on exactly that.
I love that.
Yeah.
That's great source material.
So what I find so interesting is they've basically created a blueprint for us. By breaking down how English Horizons teaches conversational English, we can figure out their key strategies and then, help you apply those to your own learning.
It's like we're reverse engineering fluency.
I love that. So English Horizons has this structure built around essential areas like vocabulary, idioms, pronunciation.
Essentials?
Yeah, it's like a roadmap to sounding more natural and confident.
I like that.
And they even have this segment called Word Power, where they highlight specific phrases that are like super useful in daily conversations.
Yes, and these aren't just random vocabulary words.
Right.
They've picked phrases that come up all the time in everyday situations.
Exactly.
So you get the most bang for your buck.
Yeah.
Like, for example, hit the snooze button.
Oh, tell me about it.
Right.
That Monday morning struggle is so real.
Yeah.
And it's so much more relatable than just saying, I woke up late.
Exactly.
They also had grab a bite.
Yeah.
Which is perfect for casual situations.
Yeah.
Like, hey, want to grab a bite after work?
Yeah.
Way more natural than, would you like to have dinner with me?
Exactly. It's not just about the words themselves.
Right.
It's about how they're used. And English Horizons actually provides definitions and real-life examples for each phrase.
Oh, that's great.
So it's easier to understand the nuances and use them correctly.
Like, they used burn the midnight oil to describe working late into the night.
Yeah.
It paints such a vivid picture.
It does.
Way more interesting than just saying, I worked late. Speaking of vivid pictures, let's talk about idioms.
Oh, yes.
English Horizons dedicated a whole segment to those, those tricky little expressions.
Yeah.
Highlighting how important they are for sounding like a native speaker.
They're essential.
And they focused on idioms about time.
Right, which is a universal theme. I mean, everyone can relate to time.
Totally.
And what's fascinating is how idioms often have a figurative meaning that goes beyond the literal words.
Yeah, like beat the clock.
Yeah, it's a great one.
It's not about physically hitting a clock.
Right.
It's about, racing against a deadline.
Right.
Finishing something just in time.
It perfectly captures that, that adrenaline rush when you're working under pressure.
It does.
And it reflects our cultural obsession with productivity and efficiency. It's like we're constantly trying to outsmart time.
Which brings us to another time-related idiom they highlighted.
Yeah.
Time flies.
Oh, classic.
It's such a perfect way to describe how quickly time seems to pass.
It really is.
When you're engrossed in something you enjoy.
It speaks to the subjective nature of time, doesn't it?
Yeah.
How our perception of it is influenced by, by our emotions and our experiences.
Totally.
We've all had those moments where we look up and think, where did the afternoon go?
Totally. And then there's make up for lost time, which is all about catching up on things you've missed or delayed. Like, maybe you haven't seen a friend in a while, so you plan a weekend getaway to make up for lost time.
It conveys a sense of urgency, like a desire to reclaim those precious moments that have slipped away.
I think it's a really relevant idiom in our fast-paced world where we're...
Especially today.
Yeah, constantly juggling responsibilities and trying to squeeze everything in.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Let's shift gears a bit.
Okay.
And talk about pronunciation.
All right.
English Horizons had a whole segment on linking words.
You know what? I'd never really thought about that before.
It's subtle.
Yeah.
But it makes a huge difference.
It does.
In how natural you sound.
Yeah.
They explained how words kind of blend together in spoken English.
Right.
Instead of being pronounced in isolation. Like hit the snooze button becomes hit the snooze button.
Yeah.
When you say it naturally.
It's so true.
It creates a smoother flow.
Right.
And makes your speech less choppy.
Yeah, it does.
And they even went deeper, explaining that there are different types of linking.
Oh, wow.
For example, when a word ends in a consonant and the next one begins with a vowel, we tend to connect them seamlessly. Like, think about how grab a bite becomes grab a bite.
Oh, I get it. Now, what about those vowel-to-vowel situations?
Right.
Like go away, for example.
Good one.
Do they just crash into each other?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
In those cases, we often insert a subtle W or Y sound to bridge the gap.
Okay.
So go away would sound more like go away.
Interesting.
These subtle sound bridges are key to sounding more natural and fluent.
I love that.
So we've got vocabulary, idioms, and even this fascinating world of linking.
It is fascinating.
Yeah.
And what I love is that English Horizons didn't just explain these concepts.
Right.
They showed them in action through a role-play dialogue.
Yeah, a great way to bring it to life.
Yeah, it was like a mini conversation between two friends where they managed to weave in all the vocabulary, idioms, and pronunciation techniques they had just talked about.
A great way to show how it all fits together in a real context.
It's like they're saying, okay, here's the theory, and here's how it actually works in real life.
Oh, exactly.
So what did these friends talk about in their little role play?
Well, one friend started by asking, how's your day going? And the other one replied with, pretty hectic. I hit the snooze button this morning, so I was running late.
Oh, clever.
See,
Yeah.
they used one of the key phrases right away.
Yeah.
In a natural way.
Yeah.
Wasn't forced or awkward.
Right.
It just flowed into the conversation.
I bet they managed to squeeze in some idioms as well.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, okay.
They talked about running errands, grabbing a bite, and even used beat the clock when describing a work deadline.
Wow.
It's like a masterclass in casual conversation, showing how these seemingly small details can really add up
They do?
to create a more dynamic interaction.
Okay, so we've covered a lot here.
Yeah, we have.
We've unpacked vocabulary, demystified idioms, explored linking, and even seen it all come together.
It's all connected.
Yeah, in a real-life scenario.
Yeah.
But English Horizons didn't stop there.
Oh, no.
They also offered some practical tips for fluency.
They did. And these tips go beyond memorizing words and grammar.
I'm intrigued.
They're about developing a more holistic command of the language.
Here's where it gets really interesting.
Yes.
Let's dive into those fluency boosting tips in part 2 of our deep dive.
Sounds good.
Okay, so let's get practical.
Yay.
English Horizons had some really great fluency tips.
They did.
I'm excited to unpack those.
Yeah, me too.
Their first tip seems pretty simple. Speak out loud every day.
Yeah.
But they stressed even short bursts of speaking can have a big impact.
It's about getting comfortable actually producing the sounds.
Yay.
You know, training your mouth muscles.
Like any skill.
Exactly.
The more you practice, the easier it becomes.
It does.
And they even said you don't need a language partner.
Right.
You can just chat with yourself.
Yeah, talk to the mirror.
Narrate your day.
Read out loud.
Read out loud. It all counts.
It all helps.
Okay, so their second tip was all about self-awareness. Record yourself speaking and then listen back.
No, yeah.
I've tried this. A little cringy.
It can be, yeah.
But I have to admit, it's helpful.
It is, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's like holding up a mirror to your own speech.
You notice things.
You do, yeah.
You weren't aware of.
Like maybe you talk too fast?
Yeah.
Or you have a certain pronunciation quirk.
Exactly. Yeah. And once you know what to improve, you can start making adjustments.
Exactly. It's like tuning an instrument.
I like that.
To get the best sound.
Their third tip was all about immersion.
Oh, yeah, immersion's huge.
They really encourage listeners to surround themselves with English.
As much as possible, yeah.
In a natural way. Like not just textbook study.
Right.
But like creating an environment where you're constantly exposed to it.
It's about absorbing the sounds, the rhythms, the expressions.
It reminds me of how we learn our native language.
Yeah.
It wasn't just from instruction. It was from constant exposure.
Yeah.
So watching TV, listening to music, podcasts, reading books, all of it.
It all contributes.
Contributes to that immersive experience.
And the best part is, it doesn't feel like work.
It doesn't.
You're just enjoying the content.
Yeah.
And learning happens naturally.
I love that.
Yeah.
Okay, tip number 4.
Okay.
Shifted the focus from individual words to chunks of language.
Right.
I remember them saying, don't just memorize single words.
No.
Learn phrases and expressions.
As chunks. Yeah.
Yeah.
As complete units.
Like, think about it.
Yeah.
We don't speak in single words.
Right.
We speak in phrases. So instead of memorizing pick and up, you should learn pick up.
As one unit.
As one unit, exactly.
Like learning a dance routine.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah. You learn the whole sequence.
Not
each individual step.
It makes it smoother.
Yeah.
More natural. And by learning these chunks, you'll sound more natural.
You will.
And you'll be able to speak more fluently.
Because you won't have to think about each individual word.
Okay. And their final tip was all about finding what works best for you.
Right. There's no one-size-fits-all approach.
No.
It's about understanding your own learning style.
Right.
Some people love flashcards. Others prefer listening.
Right.
The key is to experiment.
Yeah.
Find what clicks.
It's like working out.
Right?
Some people love lifting weights.
Yeah.
Others prefer yoga.
Or
running drawer.
Find what you enjoy.
Exactly.
What keeps you motivated.
And don't be afraid to mix and match.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe you start with flashcards. Then listen to a podcast.
Right.
And read before bed.
The key is to stay curious.
Yeah.
Keep experimenting.
And create a routine.
A routine that works.
That's effective.
And enjoyable.
Exactly.
Okay, so English Horizons has given us
a lot to work with.
Vocabulary, idioms, pronunciation, even fluency tips.
It's a great foundation.
But now comes the hard part.
The application.
Yeah. How do we go from theory
to practice?
To action?
That's what we'll explore in part 3.
Okay.
We'll take all this
right.
and help you create your own plan.
I like it. Okay, so we've learned some really cool strategies from English Horizons.
We have.
For leveling up your everyday English.
Yeah.
But now it's all about making it work for you.
Exactly. That's the key.
So how do we bridge that gap? How do we go from like theory to action?
Well, I think a good place to start is to figure out what aspects of everyday English are most important to you.
Oh, okay.
What are your goals?
Right.
Do you want to feel more confident in conversations? Or maybe express yourself more clearly at work?
Yeah.
Or understand those tricky idioms and slang.
Right.
So you can really participate in social situations.
I like that.
It's like having a destination in mind before you start a journey.
Once you know where you're going,
you can choose the best path.
And remember those fluency tips we talked about?
Oh, yeah, those are important.
They're like our navigation tools.
Exactly.
So if you want to improve your pronunciation, you could focus on recording yourself and practicing linking words.
Exactly.
If you want to expand your vocabulary.
Oh, okay.
You know, those key phrases from the word power segment are gold.
They are, yeah.
Yeah.
Make flashcards.
Right.
Use them in sentences. Really make them your own.
And don't forget immersion.
Immersion is huge.
It's like surrounding yourself with English.
Create your own little English world.
Yeah.
Watch movies with subtitles. Listen to podcasts on your commute.
Oh, yeah.
Even switch your phone's language to English.
Wow. I like that.
The more you're exposed to it,
right,
the more natural it becomes.
It's all about those small habits.
Yeah, the little things add up.
That over time make a big difference.
They do.
And consistency is key.
Absolutely.
Even 15, 20 minutes a day. That's all it takes.
It can make a difference.
Yeah, like building a muscle.
You don't have to spend hours at the gym to see progress.
Short, consistent workouts are key.
And it helps to have support.
It does.
Find a language partner.
Yeah.
Join a group.
Talk to other learners.
Yeah.
It's like having a workout buddy.
I like that.
Yeah.
Keeps you motivated.
And don't be afraid to ask for help from a teacher or tutor.
Oh, that's a good point.
They can give you feedback.
Yeah.
And tailor things to your needs.
So we've come a long way.
We have.
From a podcast script to a personalized action plan.
It's been a journey.
It has.
But before we wrap up.
Okay.
I want to leave you with this. Embrace the process. Learning a language is an adventure.
It is.
It's not just a destination.
Right.
You'll have moments of frustration, plateaus, setbacks. But if you're persistent, curious, and have a little fun along the way, you'll keep growing.
And who knows, maybe one day you'll be the one giving advice.
Sharing your tips.
And inspiring others.
That's the beauty of language.
Yeah.
It connects us.
It does.
Empowers us.
Opens up possibilities.
Absolutely.
Yeah.